My name is Emma. I'm the creative director at Vinted. I am based in the Berlin office, but I spend a lot of time in Vilnius. Amazing city. I eat as much keptaduana as I can every time I go. First time in Tallinn, also proving to be fantastic. So everyone has stood on stage all day and said, you know, you got to go out there, you've got to be brave. I'm going to tell you the opposite. You could be totally sensible, it's fine. No, I'm just kidding. But we are going to talk about this question, right? These opposing forces, brand pragmatism and bravery, this epic battle between the two.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you for a second. Will you do an introduction about Vinted as well? Because
I definitely will.
Thank you so much.
Don't you worry, I've got it all covered.
Okay, super.
Yes. So in this epic battle between brand pragmatism, that was a good example of pragmatism. You want to make sure people, know what we're talking about. Who wins? And for different brands and different contexts, it can mean different things. But what I can share with you today is how this plays out for Vinted. So first, who is Vinted? So Vinted is Europe's largest C2C secondhand fashion marketplace. Out of curiosity, how many of you buy and sell secondhand? All right. How many of you are wearing something secondhand right now? A couple. Awesome. I'll have to find you out after. Love that pink suit. So Vinted, for those of you who know Vinted, often it's seen as a pretty brave brand, right? I mean, the mission is really brave. Make secondhand the first choice worldwide. It's big, it's bold, it's about changing consumer behavior that's really long held, buying things new. We could talk badly about the ad men of the 50s telling everyone to buy something new and throw it away. But it's a really big mission. And our growth is huge as well. Mart mentioned the unicorn status. Vinted is in 19 markets, 80 million registered members, and really no intentions of slowing down. And our members are really, really brave as well. They are always experimenting with bold looks, experimental styles, statement pieces, one-of-a-kind finds. I'm always super inspired seeing our members and these kind of crazy combinations they put together. They have fun with it. They use Vinted to make fashion exciting. It's not about just buying something off the rack. It's about being creative. Yeah, there's definitely some awesome looks that come together. I have a Vinted member to thank for these brave shoes I have on today. So it sounds like bravery is a part of the Vinted DNA. It really does when you look at these elements. But actually, pragmatism is a driving force behind the mentality of the brand, which definitely sounds less sexy, but hear me out. So we consider ourselves ambitious realists. So we're careful, we're considered, we're like surprisingly unidealistic considering the mission that we have. And yes, we want to change the world, and yes, we want to do something no one's done before, but we don't believe the way to get there is really through kind of unconventional risk-taking. And this plays out in 3 areas: pragmatism in purpose, pragmatism in product, and pragmatism in creative, which you often don't hear those two together. And because it's 5 o'clock already, we're sailing into the weekend. At the end, we will watch some TV commercials. So what does bravery tell us? Bravery tells us to be first and to be loud. And Vinted kind of says, wait a second. How about we be accurate? And how about we be honest? And you could see this come to life when it came to the topic of sustainability. So all across the industry over the last couple years, everything from laundry detergent to first-hand fashion, kind of jumped into this sustainability narrative. And it often left, consumers wondering what is green marketing and what is actually a sustainable way to shop. And Vinted was surprisingly silent during this period. I mean, it's secondhand. Come on, sustainability, and we were not a part of this conversation. And the reason why is because we were doing our homework. Maybe I don't know the personalities we have in the room, but there's the person who's like, I cannot go to the party until I study for this exam. That was our mentality. We spent 3 years conducting an independent audit so that we could be accurate and thorough in our climate impact report. It was so much more important for us to get it right than to be first. And of course, once we had the verdict, we were ready to shout it loud and proud. So we were happy to find out that the data did support the mission, that secondhand is better for the climate. Buying on Vinted saves an average of 1.8 kilograms of CO2 per item compared to buying new. And as we heard in our previous speaker, we have no idea what 1.8, the spatial dimensions of that, so we'll need to do some work on that. But it was good news, and then of course, once we had that information, it was like, all right, let's put it out there. We shouted from the rooftops, but more importantly, it was about thanking our members, all of the millions of items that are bought and sold every day. They're the ones powering this movement. It was not about fanfare for Vinted itself. And we were really thrilled to see our members engaging with it on social media. I mean, it's hard to engage with sustainability stats, but we were happy to see this gain some momentum amongst the community. What else does bravery tell us? Bravery says, don't be boring. Do something new. Well, for us at Vinted, it's really rather like, how do we build one thing and build it really well? So we've always prioritized being consistent over being trendy, being practical over being bold, and being like really easy to use over, being cutting edge or pursuing innovation for the sake of innovation. We've built our product to just like work really well for people, to contribute practical value in people's lives. And sometimes we see the industry running in one direction or another, and we always stop and ask ourselves, like, what do people actually need? And in this case, maybe it is a little bit more brave to just like focus on doing one thing rather than running in a bunch of different directions. I love this quote from Amuna Weiner. She's a creative director at Nihulo branding agency. And she says, many clients mistake newness for bravery, but sometimes bravery can be something restrained. And I think that really resonates with us. And it's not just with us, right? We see this in our brand health from our members, that the pragmatism and the pragmatic approach that we take, it actually matters to members and it gives us an edge. So if we look across popularity, practicality, simplicity, reliability, we're ahead and it's giving us that edge. Maybe those aren't the most sexiest attributes to be looking at, but it matters to our members and we're delivering on that. Now, if we've got some creatives in the room, how many of you have heard like create from your gut? A couple, yes. And sometimes you should. Shoot from the hip, ignore the data, do what's in your heart. And sometimes that is the case, but for us, it was rather a question of like, how do we dance with the data a little bit? And that manifested in a couple different ways. So Vinted had a winning creative formula for 5.5 years, and this was very simple. It was essentially the woman in our target group plus a wardrobe showing how to use the app. And this worked incredibly well for over 5.5 years. It was teaching people how to use the app, and it was introducing this new behavior that didn't really exist in the market, which was, buying and selling secondhand. So you can have a quick look. Do we have sound on this? A lot of same. That was the point. And like all good things, they come to an end. And that's when they called me about 1.5 years ago. And my first order of business was, I think we've done this enough, right? I think we've done it enough. But the fact is like it worked for a really long time, and there was not really a need to change it for the sake of just being brave or just being creative. And similar to what Paul mentioned this morning, there are some organizations where gently, the 5%, the like, how do we change this and see if it works? How do we, move ahead without breaking everything? And that's really the approach we took with creative here. So now it's we've settled into TV watching time. So this was what came shortly after. So this is how we expanded the circle from focusing on the functional benefit for the individual a little bit further out to like the emotional benefit of secondhand in general. So let's have a look.
Son premier plongeon? C'est grâce à votre maillot de seconde main. Cette année, donnez une seconde vie aux vêtements de vos enfants avec Vinted. Ajoutez votre article, fixez votre prix et vendez sans frais. Tu ne le portes pas? Vends-le. Leur premier baiser? C'est grâce à votre bonnet de seconde main. Cette année, donnez une seconde vie à vos vêtements avec Vinted. Ajoutez votre article, fixez votre prix et vendez sans frais. Tu ne le portes pas? Vends-le. Son premier succès au yoga? C'est grâce à la seconde main. Cette année, dépensez moins et profitez plus. Découvrez plein d'articles de seconde main sur Vinted. Tu le veux? Achète-le sur Vinted.
So it was about bringing new perspectives into the stories and really showing like what does secondhand mean to people? What does that item mean to you? How could it inspire someone else? And then from there, we can't leave the topic of income aside, right? The cost of living crisis. Why do people use Vinted? Because they can earn extra money. They can do the things that they want to do. They can, quote unquote, live their best life. So this is our current campaign running in the UK. And this is, has a pretty practical meaning to it, which is like, yeah, earn extra money, but really done through, an elevated approach and a character-led focus. So let's have a look.
We all deserve a little extra. The kind of extra you get when you shop amazing pre-loved deals on Vinted. You can find a cool update to your everyday style. Or an adorable upgrade for her living room debut. Save a little extra, be a little extra. Shop loads of unique second-hand styles on Vinted. We all deserve a little extra. The kind of extra you get when you sell your pre-loved clothes on Vinted. A little extra money you can spend on spoiling your not-so-little loved one. Or spoiling yourself, like a much-needed night out. Complete with a romantic serenade. Earn a little extra, be a little extra. Sell on Vinted with 0 fees.
And lastly, we bring this concentric circle out even further and we say, okay, it's not just the functional benefit for you, it's not just the emotional benefit, that secondhand offers. It's like, what is this societal movement that's happening? So this is our newest campaign that's going live in France, I believe this week. So last but not least, a little bit of the French Vinted movement.
Le mouvement Vinted, c'est vous. Vous êtes convaincu qu'il est possible de trouver l'inspiration chez quelqu'un d'autre, même à l'autre bout de la France. Et que nous pouvons faire attention à la fois à notre porte-monnaie et à l'environnement. Merci d'offrir depuis 10 ans déjà une seconde vie aux vêtements. Et ce n'est que le début. Consommez mieux et économisez plus. Poursuivez le mouvement avec Vinted. Le mouvement Vinted, c'est vous. Vous êtes convaincu qu'il est possible de trouver l'inspiration chez quelqu'un d'autre, même à l'autre bout de la France. Et que nous pouvons faire attention à la fois à notre porte-monnaie et à l'environnement. Merci d'offrir depuis 10 ans déjà une seconde vie aux vêtements. Et ce n'est que le début. Consommez mieux et économisez plus. Poursuivez le mouvement avec Vinted.
So I'm happy to report we did not break anything by moving away from our woman and our wardrobe formula. In fact, quite the opposite. And we're going to continue in that direction. It's bravery, I think, wrapped in a pragmatic secondhand coat. So I have a safe and sensible, pragmatic final choice here. We're in a room full of brand people, so why not bring Simon Sinek into it? He says, pure pragmatism can't imagine a bold future, and pure idealism can't get anything done. It's the delicate blend of both that drives innovation, and we very much believe that at Vinted, and thank you so much for your time this afternoon.